Okay, we're recording this now. This is Roland and Nathan, and we're going to do a little tour of YouTube Live Hangouts on Air. First of all, a real quick clarification. People call it a YouTube or people call it a Hangout, and the actual terminology will be a YouTube Live Hangout on Air or Hangouts on Air as a concept. And people confuse the terms a lot, and they think that it's now a YouTube Hangout or something. But it is just a Hangout on Air the way it's always been, and recorded and archived in YouTube. And it's also the initiating point is YouTube now. There are other ways to approach it and to configure it in, but this is the standard approach that everyone probably should be using. And then from there, manipulating how they institute the Hangout in their other facilities or their other platforms, that's another story. But everything basically happens from YouTube first. So now I'm going to do a screen share and show you, Nathan and whoever's watching, exactly how to start these off yourself. So the first screen I'm going to share is a screen of the actual control room, so to speak, and the control room of the overall Hangouts section is in the Creator Studio. And so I'm going to show you, I'm going to back up from this spot and show you how to get to the Creator Studio. But the essence of what I'm showing you for this purpose is I have a bookmark or a shortcut link in my toolbar, which is right here. I can show you if you can see that. Live events, YouTube. When I click that, it comes right here. But it's really good to know where here is. So I'm going to take you for the long tour to get to the spot. And then I'll be doing that by opening up a new tab and showing you that just a Google search page. And I'm going to go to Google. I'm sorry. I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm just going to go to a standard YouTube link and go. Now, if I'm logged into my Google Plus or my Gmail or something, then that automatically takes the YouTube facility automatically takes and accesses my profile. So I basically opened up YouTube as Roland here. And since I did, I can hover over my icon, right? And I click on that. And if I go down to the middle of this box, there's a tab there that says Creator Studio. And if I click that link, it takes me right to the spot that we want to go, and I can start creating an event. Now, the other side of the story is this. If you go to your main menu over on the left-hand side, if you go to your home, that's all the information. The channel is the videos that you watch and so forth. But if you go to My Channel, you get a different set of options. My Channel is your collection of recommended videos and produced videos of your own. But at the top of this place, you've got 3 sections here that have some metrics and statistics, but also a very important button called Video Manager. And if you click on that, it goes to the very same general dashboard where we're going to access the live streaming. So as you can see now, it automatically drops you into videos. But we are going to go down to the live streaming link, click on the live streaming link, and then it opens up live streaming section, and it gives you 2 options. The first one is to stream now, and for the life of me, I couldn't tell you the value of this. It's in a beta, and it's not accessible to everyone in all aspects, so I'm not even researching that right now. But if I go down to events and click the events button, then it takes me to the section that I want to be in. And if you take a look at this events live now, it shows me that You and I are in an HOA, Roland and Nathan, and this it shows that we're live now. And so anyway, we are in this hangout, and that's the collection that I have live now. If I go upcoming, now I had one other video that was in my collection that we never did initiate, and that was a test run that I was going to have with Bill. And if we weren't in this hangout, this actually would show the hangout that I'm going to do or had planned with Bill. Plus, it would show the one that we are actually in right now if it wasn't engaged. So there would actually be two in here in the list. But now I'm going to basically show you how to create a hangout. And so backing up out of this now, if I were to open up, as I said, a new browser, and you can kind of like take a mental picture of where we are right now. But if I were to open up a new browser and click my shortcut link, you'll see that it returns me to the very same page that we were just at. So I clicked out all of those navigational issues and just came right to the page that I'm going to create the event. So now to create an event, we have a button on the right here, New Live Event. And you're going to see, when you see this, we just clicked on that. When you see this, you're going to realize, oh yeah, it looks a little differently, but this is all the same information that we used to have to create a live event or Hangouts on Air and creating an event to log into our event page and all that stuff. Unfortunately, the event page for us is now simply a YouTube page, and it's not even close to the same kind of event page that we used to have in Google Plus Events. It does not have the standard invitation to circles feature or the follow-up and the notifications and all that stuff is built into your Google Plus account. And that's unfortunate, but we are trying to conquer that issue now. But meanwhile, this is how we start the event. So we actually go to the page and think of a title just as we always used to do. So we can say Nathan's sample event. Roland. Okay, so now the odd thing about this is when you go to the planning time, if we were just to click the go live now, supposedly this would be today and this would be now as far as a calendar thing. But let's say you wanted to plan it for the future, you would click on the today slot and a calendar drops down. The very weird thing about it is if you don't want to plan it for a now and you wanted to plan it for later today or tomorrow or next week or whatever, it doesn't always take the first time. So like, for instance, today's the 21st, and I'm going to click on the 22nd, basically indicating that I want to start it tomorrow. And apparently, it doesn't want to do that. It says 12 o'clock p.m. today. So it refuses to take. And I think that part of it is if you don't take the now out of there, it will not revert off of today. But if I click today again and then say, no, dang it, I want you to do it on the 22nd. Now it diverts to the day you choose, and you also click on the next one and you can choose a time, which I will just default at 11 o'clock because that's what time I have all my shows and so forth. And let's say you wanted to do an end time of 11:30. I would click on the end time button, and I would go to 11:30 a.m. and say that's at the approximate time that we want to end that. So we're actually doing it a day early, but we had planned on starting at 11 and ending at 11:30. So we're not close, actually, but this will do for now for demonstration purposes.
Quick question, will it automatically shut off if you go longer than the time?
No. The times are all for indicating purposes for alerting people, but they have absolutely no control over what time you push the start button or the end button in the Hangout itself. So it's just like in the old days when you plan it, the planning is mainly so that you have your viewing audience aware of what time you plan for, but what time you actually execute the Hangout is totally dependent upon whatever time you click the buttons.
Got it. Okay.
So, and now the event detail, when it's called the description, it doesn't handle the same thing as the the event page set up for Hangouts on Air used to be. So, for instance, if we were to want to capitalize or embolden the type, normally what we would do is we would say star and then type in a line and then a star again. But if you do this technique, YouTube does not recognize the insignia and therefore will not make this bold. So you just have to kind of forget the boldness right here. And
It's just basic like ASCII formatting. I
right.
mean, what we're looking at right now looks like the standard upload that you see when you upload a video, and I've been uploading a lot as of late. And it looks exactly like what we're looking at here. And I'm going,
Yeah.
oh, I know this. It's easy.
Yeah, there are very few differences, which I'm going to get into in just a moment here.
Okay.
But it's basically the same process,
Okay.
which it should be. It shouldn't be any more complicated than this. And now when you go to tags, of course, you're going to want to say,
hang out on air. Of course. What else could it be?
or whatever your tags are, and do that way.
Sure.
But now over on the right-hand side, you have some options.
Yep.
And you may make it unlisted or you may make it private, but for the purposes of what we're doing, we're just making this public, which means literally, since we are broadcasting live, we might have people watching, which I doubt because nobody knows we're here. But
You never know, though.
But if we were, yeah, I mean, they could accidentally run into us somehow. But had you publicized this in advance because we planned it for tomorrow and told people you're going to be around tomorrow doing this, then they very well might have marked their calendar or just remembered to be there. And if we had started tomorrow at 11 o'clock, then we might actually have an audience. So anyway, we're going to mark this one public for now. And then I've never added a message before, and I don't know what that does. I literally don't know what it does.
I've used it. It's a quick little snippet that goes out as an announcement to your audience. It's just something that they get. I remember learning about this in a YouTube course I took.
So is it basically...
It's really short. You can't type much in there. Like the title that you've typed in is about all you can use.
Right.
And it's just an announcement that goes to your subscribers from what I remember.
I think that's the reason that this is months ago now, but I think that's the reason that I didn't use it, because I ended up, whenever I do share it or invite people, I write a whole specific message and I don't let the default message interfere with that. So the last thing in our setup is this. Under the type section there are two things you can do. You can do the quick one, which is automatically defaulting into using the Hangouts on-air format, or you can do a custom encoding option. And if you use custom encoding option, then you have all the gamers have special things that they use in special platforms other than Hangouts on Air that they use, like capture their gaming and to capture multiple user gaming all at once and stuff like that, and to do tutorials about the game and to describe the game afterwards and do all kinds of stuff. And so they have several different encoding systems that they use, and that's a OBS Studio, XSplit, and all those other things kind of interact with those things. But the encoding options are specifically platforms very similar to Hangouts on Air that take the place of Hangouts on Air. But if you use the quick method, it's automatically from as far as directed by Google and YouTube, it's automatically a Hangout on Air.
Okay.
So now creating this event, I'm going to go click the button. Now you can see we have the Bill Graham testing slides event, and now we've got Nathan's sample event with Roland, which we can come back later on and actually open that up and use it the very same way that we're in this Hangout. And the way you do that is basically you click on Hangout on Air. And I'm not going to follow up too far, because if I try to start this, it tells me you are already in a Hangout. Do you want to go there, or take me there, or ignore that and open me up in this new one? And you can only be in one Hangout on Air at a time. But basically, to engage into the Hangout on Air, you click that button, and then it's the same process from there. The Hangout opens up, the time insignia pops up and shows you that the Hangout's taking a minute or so to set up itself and so forth. So you're on a little time clock, and then after a few seconds or a minute, it says, okay, you're ready to broadcast anytime. And then you have to hit the broadcast button, turn it on just like we always used to do. It's all the same.
Yep. So in terms of this streaming onto Facebook Live or through Twitter, or I would need to copy the link of the Hangout and paste it into Facebook Live and Twitter and so on. That's what people would need to see, correct?
I believe so. Now, there are some different things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over the event that we made today, or set up today for tomorrow for you and me. And although we're not actually going to do this, but at least for sample purposes, it's handy. I'm going to right-click on this and open in a new link so we don't lose this page, and it just opens up a new tab. And now I'll show you what it is that we created. So since I did this from my account, it shows Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, and literally this is the thumbnail that will show whenever anyone wants to see what's coming up and they want to check out the event. They see this automatically. So there's no setting up an event page banner or anything. But if you've got your account set up with an appropriate banner of some kind for your channel, your YouTube channel, that's what's going to show here.
Right, so I need to do the banner now. What's interesting there is it shows the link at the top. I can see that, so I would imagine that would be, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this, and I think what I'm going to have to do in order to make this work, at least for Facebook Live, is they have a scheduling option now on Facebook. So what I would do is, when I finish scheduling it through the YouTube for the Google Hangouts on Air, I would copy that link for that and schedule it for Facebook and say, hey, I'm doing a show at X time. Here's the link to it at Hangouts on Air. Now, when something like that happens, I have no idea whether it'll stream on Facebook Live and they can watch it there, or whether they need to come back to Hangouts on Air. I haven't a clue.
Yeah. I don't know for sure. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that. And what that is, now since YouTube does not automatically give you the option of the various interfaces, it just says, oh, you can watch it here on YouTube, or you can watch it wherever you have your video embedded. Because, of course, if you have a verified channel with YouTube in your website, you can stream this right in your website. So what I had to do was go to the website of my choice, which is initmobile.net, and then make sure that the initmobile.net is verified with Google, and then it's actually referred by the YouTube channel as the associated website. InitMobile is the associated website. Okay. So now I can take the YouTube video and embed it in the my website, and it will play live. Before you get it verified and connected, it will not play live. It'll play in the aftermath, but it will not do live streaming.
Yeah.
But once you verify it, you can stream live. So the next step for me is I want to stream live, and I want to have the conversation as far as comments from the audience right there next to the video as it's streaming live on my website.
Yeah, I got it. And that's the problem that you're trying to solve. And I've been working with this one programmer about building like a platform that would allow us to stream on the YouTube and Facebook and all these different platforms all at the same time with the unified comments. He says he can do it. I don't know if he can actually do it. We'll see. It will be a work in progress.
Well, that'll be a valuable plug-in. So keep me informed when you get that going, and let me know what your.
Not to worry, you'll be in the loop along with everybody else I know.
Yeah, let me know what your business model is, because we're going to be undergoing the same thing as far as how to progress or what to do with this thing once it's developed.
Yeah, well, there has to be a monetization aspect into it, and I'm thinking of like a couple of levels just to keep it simple. One would be free, but the free level runs ads, AdSense ads, or whatever else. And then there's the paid level with no ads, whatever the paid level is. I was just thinking of hobbyists and broadcasters. Keep it real simple.
I'm taking it to a little different sidestep from that, because
sure, try me.
Like for instance, the Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties show has never been a monetization opportunity. A lot of people come to me and say, "Hey, I bet you could make a lot of money doing blah 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 blah." Having paid guests, having advertising, having sponsorships, having affiliate sales, etc. The problem for my show and for the following in my audience is that would be really the wrong thing to do. That's basically betraying my audience. All of a sudden trying to get money from the audience, and the show is based on an education-based marketing style. In which case, it's like, well, then how do you make your money? It's like, because in social media, when people begin to know, like, and trust you, then they're going to ask you for the solution to their problem.
Yeah, that is the other approach. There's so many different ways of doing this. There isn't a right or a wrong way. It's like John Lee Dumas, for example, runs a podcast, but eventually he started attracting sponsors and doing a blurb about the sponsors. I personally don't see anything wrong with that, but
no, it's not a matter. It's not a matter of anything being wrong with that. It depends upon your intention. It's just really depends on how you want to set it up and what your intention is.
Absolutely, yeah.
For me, I just don't feel good about affiliate marketing in general, and yet I'll be in a position soon where it's like, look, this is who I am, this is what I represent, and this is what I want to give to the world. This is my contribution. Now, meanwhile, I want to let you know that I do build websites and I do this other thing, and now we've got this plugin for sale, and if you're interested in any of those things, please let me know, and I'll be glad to sell the hell out of it for you, and I'll take your money gladly.
My God, Roland, you're becoming commercial. I don't know if I can handle the shock to my system.
Oh my God, he actually does want to make money. He's actually has his hand out, and I didn't know it. No, I don't want it to be that way. I want people to be able to say, I really appreciate what you teach. I really appreciate what you give. You make a lot of sense to me. I know, like, and trust you. Now, can you advise me on what to do with my website? Or can you advise me on how to do this video? Or can you help me out with Hangouts on Air? Something. And then if that's the case, like, sure I can. I have this package and that package, and maybe one of these things apply. Or, I mean, eventually, if I get really famous, and who knows, this plug-in and this interaction with you and stuff like that.
Oh, I just solved a problem for you.
Go ahead.
I just solved a problem for you. You know what you were talking about with the unified chat and having the comments and so on, and being able to retain it after the broadcast? I know how to solve the problem for you. It just came to me. You don't need to build a plugin. You just need Camtasia Studio to record the Google Hangout on Air. You size it to match the exact Hangout. You record the Hangout on Air. It also records everything to do with your chat on the side, and when it's done, it saves the entire thing as an MP4 that you can upload. And when you output it through Camtasia Studio, you can choose the size and the format, which is usually 720 pixels wide. And you can set it up, and it will retain everything. Everything.
Now, Now, I love your idea, but I've been there, done that, and here's why it doesn't
And you
work.
got the T-shirt?
Yeah, here's why it doesn't work for me.
Oh, okay.
The objective for me is to achieve the best interaction with the audience possible, right?
Sure.
And Camtasia Studio will capture the end result, but then you're done. It's over.
Yeah.
You captured the video, you're done. What I'm trying to do is emulate what we used to have in Google Hangouts. And in
Which
Google Hangouts events, you can go back the next day and watch the video, read the comments, plus name somebody and comment something in the comment stream, and they will actually get notified immediately after that that you
give
commented
me.
the next day. So there's
I
there's an
get.
ex- there's an
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
extension of the interaction, and to me, um, am I clear on what I'm going to do to magnify and intensify that interaction? No, but the thing that we've all concluded is that interaction is not available virtually anywhere else where you can plus name people and talk about a subject generated from the start of a hangout previous to the time. And so
There,
what we
there are other tools that you can use, I think, like Discuss and other things, but again, they would be separate. They would, and okay, I have one. It's a solution, but it's not the ultimate. You've gone further. You've already blown me out of the water before I could start, which is fine. But well, you've had more practice at this, which is totally fine.
Yeah, I've
Um,
been dwelling on it.
I know, I get it, and I'm also pretty clear about what I'm going to have to do in terms of this thing. I mean, I have to come back to Hangouts and do, because I want to be able to do screen shares. I want to do a show today. But after today and my time with you, I'm going to set a 5-day a week show from 11 to 11:30 thereabouts. And I'm just going to be talking about whatever and starting to interview people again about platform building. Want to be a guest?
Oh, sure. You know
thought
me.
I'd thought I'd catch you off guard a wee bit with that. And
That's pretty hard to catch me off guard for do you want to be on a show.
it stopped you for a second or two until you caught it and you realized what I said to you. It's like,
Yeah, but you got to admit that was a very brief second.
well, seconds by their nature are brief.
Yeah.
But I still caught you.
Very true.
I threw a curveball at you. Yesterday was interesting because I was doing this thing, and I don't know how it's going to work with the whole Facebook thing, but I discovered that I was live for over 20 minutes talking about stuff, and I actually wound up with a decent audience. And what I discovered on Facebook is you have to be on there for a while, broadcasting before people finally notice. And people are using different platforms like Smile Time and Blue Jeans to work with Facebook Live. I don't know what they're doing. OBS Studio as well. And I have no idea whether the Hangouts will actually create a live situation. I need to find out. But I got to use something. And I want to build my audience. I want to build the community. And I have a lot of work in front of me there.
Starting 2 years ago when I started Saturday Morning Marketing Smarties, I was basically preaching back then, excuse me, to have your own show, to have your own community, and use your website as a focus. And 2 years later now, we're finally actually finding the formula of the right pieces that allow us to do it. Now, yes, it's still a Hangout on air. Yes, it's still a YouTube video. But between those two things and the conversation, if we can have the conversation and the recorded interaction and the perpetual engagement right in your own website, then we've conquered a bunch of problems all at once. So we're almost through this plugin.
Well, one of the things that's happened is like with the whole YouTube interaction, and I'm going to have to see how that works once we get it set up, because I noticed that when you did the unified chat thing, there was a button that you could click and it would take you to the YouTube channel and you would see all that stuff going on there. And I don't know if that'll happen when I do this Hangout thing. It looks like it's just going to do the Hangout that we all know from way back.
Right.
And I'm just going to have to figure it out as I go along too, like you and everybody else.
Yeah.
And But the thing about the YouTube interaction is, like with all the videos I put up, I get notified if somebody makes a comment, and I can go back in there and respond to their comment. And that's how I got a client actually recently, was from it.
Yeah, that's valuable. In the aftermath, post event, the YouTube comments are there. That's a different field of consciousness
I
because
know.
it's not part of the live event. The live event gets deleted from YouTube as far as the live conversation, and yet,
Oh, you lose it, eh?
yeah, it does not stay. And that's why,
Oh, fuck. No wonder you want what you want.
yeah, well, we figured out how to integrate through an internal facility how to pull in the YouTube comments when you're in the live show, but they only get recorded and saved in unified chat, not in YouTube. And then the YouTube disappears completely, and then you have post comments after the fact. You can comment the way everything's saved. However, during the event itself, they do not save comments. But since they're going on and you've got two fields of conversation all contributing to the same conversation, unified chat allows us to collate them all and have them visible in both places at once as you're going live. So all of a sudden it strings everything together and everybody's having the same conversation, which was the
Nice.
point in the first place. Instead of having an independent conversation there and an independent conversation here,
Yeah, no
we have
kidding.
one field of conversation. Now, if I can duplicate this in the website and also pull in the YouTube conversation, then I'm done. I mean, then I've got the most
Got
pop
it.
for the dollar, and we've got the most things
Yeah.
working for us.
Because the
Otherwise,
conversation's key. I get it. It's very important. You want that engagement. And so I understand why you're pushing really hard for it.
yeah,
And
I'm actually investing money in this.
I hear it. I get that. I got, as soon as you told me yesterday, I knew what you were doing, and I was saying, shit. If I had more money, I'd throw some at it myself, because no, it's important.
It,
Because when I told you yesterday, and I sat down and did the why thing, and realized that the community is everything to me, and so I need to learn how to do Twitter community, but I would like to do community all under one roof without having to go in all sorts of multiple different directions. I find that really
exactly.
frustrating.
To actually refer people over to a third party location to have the best interaction with you is one step lower than perfect.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
step lower.
yeah. I agree. You want to be able to pull it all from one thing and aggregate it so that it's all in one place.
And it's got to be your real estate. It has to be your URL, your domain, your website.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And
because there's WordPress comments, there's Twitter comments, there's this. It's like it's a mishmash. Actually, come to think of it, there are some tools that will allow you to look at the multiple feeds, but again, it's like each one is on a page, like side by each. That's a
right.
French Canadian term. I have two eggs side by each facing the sun. Anyway. Well, I suck at my accents, but years ago, it was like this French Canadian. I had two eggs side by each facing the sun, two strip of bacon parallel, pair of toast. It's French Canadian ordering breakfast.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, well, French Canadians have well, some of them at least. They mangle the English language so bad it hurts my ears to listen to them.
I can
Well,
imagine.
they just absolutely mangle the language, but that's another story. I
Well,
used to,
we're doing that with accents all the way across the United States too.
well, one of the things that was happening, I was dating this woman for a while, and she would have terrible problems with English. She would pronounce English words as if they were Spanish. And I'm going, you can't do that with English. It doesn't work like that. And so the favorite word that she fucked up on a regular basis was picture. And no matter how many times I coached her, she would always, almost like 99% of the time, get it wrong and pronounce the word as picture.
Sure, sure.
And it's like, ah. And so I would say to her, you murder my language.
Yeah.
She had asked me, please stop telling me that. It's like, okay, no problem.
Well,
Anyway, Yeah, so I guess that's it for today.
So anything last that you want to ask or
Yeah, that's
any
all.
questions? I think it's pretty clear and concise, so
It
I'll go
is.
ahead and
It's
stop the
clearer than I thought.
broadcast. Yeah, I'll go ahead and stop the broadcast here in a few seconds. Roland
Okay.
and Nathan signing off for the brief tutorial and an interesting discussion about marketing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thanks a lot.